What's up, everybody? Welcome back. We're going to do another video. Today we're going to work on building the rest of this oven range vent hood. So first thing we got to do is clear out the workspace. So that's what we're going to do first. Stick around. Alright, and we're cleaned out. Next thing we got to do is I'm going to bring you in a little bit closer and show you, kind of go through how this basic structure was built. And then I got some more structure to build, and then we'll cover it, finish it, be done. Okay, got you in here a little bit closer. Go over real quickly kind of what we got going on here. The top is really where all the weight of this is going to be carried from. So that's framed out of 2x4s, and I don't know why I did it the way that I did, but I did. So here's what I did. I've got glue, and I just shot like 2-inch finish nails through there. These are just basic butt joints. 2x4 frame, made a box. The box is 20 inches wide, and I have to check the measurement on the depth, but I'll put the measurement in there in the video. And then I just basically framed that out of 2x4s. Then on the table saw, I ripped down, I had a 2x8, and I ripped it down and made these, I believe these are 1.5 by 1.5 strips that I've made this bottom frame out of. This is anchored into studs. This top piece is anchored into the studs in about 4 screws on this side, 4 screws on this side. And so everything's really anchored super well. And this down here is all framed with pocket screws and glue. So I've got pocket screws here on the inside. You can see the pocket screw holes here, and there's a pocket screw hole back here. Same with this side and back here. This is all pocket holes. I should have done all that pocket holes, but I honestly forgot I had a pocket hole set up because that was the first time I ever used it, was to build this. So I've got to get some mud and tape. I've got to cover this hole and patch this up, and then we're going to come in and put another support here, another support here. We're going to start basically like putting on siding, and we're going to just side it up. So that's what we got going on. That's what the plan is. The next step is patching this hole. Okay, so first step, patch this hole. The only way you can patch a hole like this in the wall, and I'm sure as soon as I do this, somebody's gonna go, well, you could have done this. Well, this is how I've always done it. I used to do drywall back in the day, and the easiest way to do it is just to brace something behind it. So I do have a stud right here, but I don't want to make this hole any bigger than it already is. So what we're gonna do is just slide a piece of wood right there behind it. Got me a screw. And that gives me something solid to screw my drywall to, so when I go to mud, it's not moving, and I can have a nice clean joint. So, there you go. And now all we gotta do is go get the drywall. One thing I am gonna do is square this circle off. We got it nice and squared up. I'm gonna grab a tape measure. We'll take a couple quick measurements, cut a piece of drywall, put it in, a little mud and tape to be done with this. Okay, got a piece of drywall here, little test fit. Pretty good snug, actually. Almost too snug, but not quite. That's actually a pretty good fit. Get some of this stuff. I'm gonna have to scrape some of that off before I can come in here and mud nice and smooth. But just a couple screws. And I'm sorry for the bad lighting. It's all I got, and there's no. We're going to redo all the lighting in this kitchen. I just don't have any lighting, so I've got my work light over there set up. That's all the lighting I have. So the first thing that we're going to do, just take you a little bit of mud. Just cover the whole thing. It's something this small. I don't even try to hit the individual seams. I'm gonna just cover the whole thing. And keeping in mind that this is gonna be behind this, I'm really doing this just to keep the airflow from going out the wall. It's an energy efficiency thing more than anything. So I found my tape. Anybody else have this problem? You go buy a nice roll of tape, you use a couple feet of it, and then the next time you find it, no matter how nicely you roll it up, try to keep it clean. It's wrapped around everything in your garage. Yeah, that's me. So tear this off, a nice clean piece of tape. And I'm just going to put tape around the seams. This is not, it's not a real fancy process here at all. Now I'm going to come back with kind of a skim coat over the top of this whole thing because I want to try to, although nobody's going to see it, I want it to be relatively flat. So when the short people walk up and they look up inside there, it doesn't look like a big, terrible eyesore. Light pressure on the outsides, leaving the mud somewhat built up on the insides. And honestly, about good enough. That's all we're going for. I'll hit that with just a very light sand before we paint, but it ain't gonna be nothing fancy. So now we get to actually do what we're here to do. I like that. Okay, now that I've got the angle set off of this one, the next side I can just measure and cut. It's not near as difficult, so that's what we're going to do. So my camera decided to shut off for some reason there, but I got this side in. Now I'm putting this other side in. I was just trying to give you a little bit of fits, but good there. That's plenty solid enough. Move on to the next step. The next part that we got to do is we're going to start. I'm going to wrap the sides basically first, and then once the sides are wrapped, then we'll go in and bring the front. It's going to be kind of a process to cut to get this angle. But so I'm using, we took down an old privacy fence in the backyard. I've taken some of the pickets off of that, and I'm going to actually use those. So we're repurposing some basically 1x6 pieces of old weathered cedar. So run outside, I'm gonna cut 2 pieces at 16 inches to get both ends. We'll pop those on real quick, and that'll be step number 1. Okay, so there's really no way to show you this but to just show you. So here's the fence pickets that we've got, and essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the dog. Obviously this piece is cracked, so we would cut it down here to because that's not a repairable. I would use like some checking like this right here. Some checking like that is okay because that kind of adds to the flavor. But a big crack like that it's just not usable wood. So I would cut that off, but I'm going to cut the dog ears off of each of these and then cut them to length, and there we go. The first piece though across that bottom is going to be flat, and I don't want it to be a full 6 inches hanging down. So I'm actually going to rip that down on the table saw, and instead of the full width, which this is actually 5.5, it's just like your dimensional lumber that you would get. It's a 1x6, but it's really I think 3/4 or even half. Hang on here. Yeah, it's actually half by 5.5. But so the first piece I'm going to actually rip down to I think 2 inches. I'm going to go in there and take a measurement and see. But I think 2 inches is going to look good to cover it. So sorry for holding the camera like this. I'm trying to make a better video than that, but out here in the garage slash not really completely converted shop yet. I don't have a good setup. I don't have good lighting. So anyway, we're working on it. No excuses, but we're working on it. Okay, we got our pieces cut. This is going to sit right here at a 1-inch reveal at the bottom, all the way across here. And that's going to be the beginning of what we're looking for. So I'm just using 1¼ inch brads. Nothing structural about this. I don't need it to be anything fancy. I just need it to stay. That's all it takes. Same thing over here on the other side. Everything lined up. About 3 nails, really all it needs. This is kind of just the, this is going to be the bottom band, and then we're going to start building up from there. Alright, we got our next piece here, and because we are recycling old, used fence material, some of this is going to have to be persuaded. This piece is a perfect example. It's got a little bit of a bow in it, a little bit of a twist. I'm not getting real super concerned. I'm just going to make it do what it needs to do. Hey, run outside and grab me a clamp. There's a clamp laying right on top of my workbench.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so here's our next piece. I mean, this is really pretty simple from this point forward until we have to do the cut. So, a couple of nails. I'm not going for anything super pristine. I'm not going for anything that, you know, no gaps and all that. That's not what we're doing here. This is supposed to look like recycled farmhouse material. That's exactly what it is. I went ahead and finished up the sides. The only thing's left to do now is I've got to pop a line basically right from that corner right to this corner, and I'm going to take the circular saw, set it right at the depth of these, and just run it across there and cut those off. And that's the best way that I know to get that angle. It's kind of a complex angle, so I'm going to pop some chalk on there and then we'll cut it. Okay, so that's it. We'll just repeat the same process on the other side. Hopefully by then my other battery will be charged. I can get you back on the tripod and we'll be able to run the front, trim it out, and be done. Got that last piece here. Now we've got to run a string line, same deal as before. Now we got to cut this off and then we'll cover everything with trim. Each of these trim pieces is 2 inches wide. The length and the angles of the cut are going to vary depending on how you build your range hood. Essentially, I started on the back side or the sides facing out, and I trimmed them with a piece in the middle on the angle, a piece at the top on the flat part between the angled piece and the ceiling, and then a small piece at the bottom. And then I covered the face of those with a piece down the front, again covering the angles and then going from the angled piece up to the ceiling and then from the angled piece down on the bottom trim. All of these dimensions could change based on how you build your range hood. That's it, everything's done. The range hood is complete. We've trimmed everything out. I did a little bit of a voiceover to kind of talk you through that because it's going to be different for everybody. So appreciate you following along, appreciate you watching the video, appreciate the thumbs up, subscribe if you want to see more stuff like this. We've got a whole house full of farmhouse projects. And in fact, while I was doing this, I shot a project on replacing a light above the sink right behind me. So if you look over my head, you can probably see the light. But that's it for the range hood. We're going to put a vent and light in at a later date, but we don't have that yet. So this is pretty much it. If you like farmhouse style stuff, we're going to be doing a whole bunch of it. So click that subscribe button. What do you think? Was this an easy project or did it take all day? It took all day? We waited a little while, right? Ran out of nails. Cool. Appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you on the next one.